This is the Great Alaska Hunting Podcast. I'm Dalton Gray.
And I'm Ryan Humphreys.
Broadcasting from our hometown of Fairbanks, Alaska. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Great Alaska Hunting Podcast, everybody. I'm Dalton.
I'm Mo.
Thanks for joining us. Sorry I ruined your canned crackle there.
I did it after my name on purpose.
Oh, I spoke right over it. Sorry.
That's okay.
Well, this week we're doing a somewhat abbreviated episode. We are right on the cusp of heading out sheep hunting. Mm-hmm. At this point of recording, we are only days out of departure.
Hopefully when you're listening to this, we're cutting up or packing out a ram.
Hopefully hopefully the sheep hunts have been over for several days at this point. But you never know. We could still be out there just grinding it out. Keeping on hammering.
Yeah.
Any more cliche sayings we can come up with?
I don't know. Nothing came to mind, so
that was kind of the best one. So in this episode, we're going to briefly cover a couple of listener questions and discuss our sheep hunting food lists, what makes the pack, what doesn't make the pack, a little bit of footwear conversation, some back and forth, and active insulation. So this is all stuff that is heavy on the mind right about now, this time of year. This is the time of year when just realize that we don't have our studio lights turned on.
Oh, we don't. That's going to be terrible.
Yeah. Let me rectify said situation. One moment. All right. Much better. Okay.
Do we look better now?
Yeah.
I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah.
That seems brighter than usual.
It does. That it does, Edward. So this is the time of year when you or I will call the other just to voice a thought that we are looking for validation.
Or just to talk, just to say the words out loud, and it kind of changes your mind.
Yeah. Just when you hear yourself say it, you realize that's a stupid idea.
Yeah, I tried that with my wife, and I ended up not buying something, and that's just not that's just not what I was planning on. It's not what the discussion was supposed to be about. It was whether or not to buy the thing, not how much money to spend on it.
I wouldn't even ask you how much money it was. I would have said, which one is better? And then I would have said, you know what? You do that. Go for it.
Would you have?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man.
No, I didn't.
No, well, I didn't call and talk to you about it either.
See, you should have.
Yeah.
Maybe it wouldn't be stuck in the mail still. So, what should we start with? Let's do the gear and things on the table first, and then we'll address some questions at the end.
And then we can use the table for the food?
Sure. Yeah. So let's get through everything else before the food.
Yep.
Active insulation. I decided to try something else. I know in the previous episode I talked about what I was bringing for my gear list, and I was going to bring my my Grumman down puffy vest as my active insulation in order to save some weight rather than bringing the ambient.
Pretty sure we got a comment on that last episode already talking about how great vests were.
Okay. Well, I hate to shoot you down here, pal, but I changed my mind. Here's why. Down does not do great as a compressed active insulation layer. If anything, it just gets hot.
Or wet, yeah.
Right. So I decided that I was either going to go back to the ambient or try a different active insulation type of jacket. There are a lot of active insulation category pieces on the market right now. That seems to be kind of the latest development in the insulation world, in the hunting apparel realm. There are several companies that have come out with good options. Sitka Ambient being kind of the flagship of what that was, announcing the Primaloft, or Primaloft if you're from gay North Dakota, otherwise known as Canada.
Right.
I apologize, Canadians.
51st state.
You guys have some great hunting, and of that I am jealous. I told my wife just the other day as I was watching a sheep hunt in the NWT.
It's not even hunting over there. They hunt out of a helicopter. They shoot on the first day.
Not the guys I was watching.
I'm just kidding.
I told my wife, I said, in another life, I'll be born in Northwest Territories or the Yukon or British Columbia, and I'll be able to hunt stone sheep over the counter as a resident in another life. So I don't actually hate Canada. I love Canadian hockey players.
We love Canada.
Yeah. So anyway, we have some friends there, but it's nice to poke fun at one another.
It is really funny how mad they get.
Well, it's funny how mad Americans get too when the Canadians poke back. They're like, "Whoa, you!"
I've never been upset.
Yeah, it's just comical to watch.
It is, yeah.
So, anyway, Primaloft is how we got there.
Primaloft, yes.
So Primaloft. The Primaloft Evolve insulation from the Sitka Ambient line is what kind of kicked off this active insulation conversation. Okay, that's a lot of shuns in one sentence. Since then, there have been several other apparel companies. The First Light Navigator hoodie has come out. It uses basically the same type of stuff. It might not be Primaloft Evolve, but it's something very, very similar. Does the same thing. Single layer face fabric on the exterior, no liner fabric on the interior, and kind of a light, fluffy Primaloft insulation on the inside of that face fabric. The idea is moving moisture off of the body as quickly as possible, but also retaining heat at the same time. So you can actually hike with it, and you're not going to overheat like you would in a traditional puffy jacket. Stone Glacier, I don't know if the Stone Glacier jacket that we're going to talk about here came out before or after the Ambient. I want to say that the Ambient was around first.
I think it was.
Matter of fact, I'm almost positive of that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I don't really think that the Ambient had anything to do with the Cirque Light.
Yeah, they're almost, at least in my mind, almost completely different pieces.
Close. So there's another company
that's almost.
Right. There's another company that's making an active insulation layer on the market for a significantly reduced price than most, if not all, other hunting brand companies. And it's from Outdoor Vitals. And I forget what the exact name is of the hoodie or jacket. I think it's only available in like a half zip. And it has like a Primaloft or Primaloft Evolve, but it's mapped. So it's not the entire garment. And then part of it is high stretch grid fleece. So it's kind of taking a little of this, a little of that, and combining it, but it's much more affordable. And if you go on Sitka's website, I believe that the Ambient 200 is pushing $300.
Really?
I'm going to verify that, but that has been a complaint about some of the main name brand hunting companies and their
wow. Well, the Ambient
insulation.
100 is $300.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Ambient 200 is $329, and the Ambient 100 is $299. Now, price hikes have happened across the board in the hunting industry. Kuyu's prices have gone up. Stone Glacier's prices have gone up. In a specific case, you and I were talking the other day about the Grumman down jacket from Stone Glacier that used to be $300. It is now $399. When Stone Glacier had their Black Label program, where they had this single item that every year they would make it in a black version. Yep. It was kind of a club deal. It was more expensive, but you got, a cool bottle opener and a ball cap and a sticker.
Free shipping.
Free shipping, and then whatever kind of discount that came along with those little perks. And that was kind of a nice thing. That Black Label Grumman jacket was almost $400, if not $400. And now the standard Grumman is $399. So,
which is insane to me.
So as things, at post-COVID and the tariffs and everything else on the global economy, most companies have raised prices, and that's due to a plethora of different factors. We're not here to talk about price. We're here to talk about effectiveness of a layer. And you have the First Light Navigator. What's the price on that one?
$200.
Okay.
It's basically a 100 to 112.
Okay. So a 112 fill value, I guess we could call that insulation value, versus the Sitka has at least two weight options, a 200 and a 100, which are both $330 and $300. The Stone Glacier Cirque Light, if you're familiar with Stone Glacier's apparel, then you know that the Cirque jacket uses, I believe it's Primaloft Gold in their synthetic puffy jacket. That is meant to be a cold weather insulation piece to be layered over and under. It's a relatively slim fit, but that's a standard run-of-the-mill synthetic puffy jacket, if you will. It's not meant to be necessarily an active insulation piece. Although in the past, when people had the conversation of how much do I want to hike with a down jacket versus a synthetic jacket? Well, people are always going to gravitate in the past towards a synthetic jacket. If you have to move in it, then synthetic will allow better breathability and moisture wicking compared to a down jacket. So of the two, between down and synthetic was always the better choice when you have to be active, when you know you're going to be moving in the mountains. The Cirque Light is not necessarily the same kind of active insulation as the First Light Navigator or the Sitka Ambient or the Outdoor Vitals pullover. Again, I have forgotten the name. You can look it up here on the fly. The Cirque Light is just a lighter grams per square meter fill of synthetic insulation when compared to the Cirque jacket itself. There's less insulation in here.
The Pursuit?
Yes, I believe that's correct. Yep. So it's like a 3/4 zip, and that's $140. The Pursuit Hybrid Fleece. Right. So that is the Primaloft Evolve equivalent. Do they actually use Primaloft Evolve? Look at that really quick. Yes, they use Primaloft Evolve. So they, in that case, they actually do use the same material as the Sitka Ambient does.
But there's a lot less of it.
But there's less of it, and there is grid fleece mapped in there along with the Primaloft Evolve. So the Cirque Light is just a lesser fill version of the Cirque jacket with the addition of high stretch breathable grid fleece under the armpits and then down the side panel.
I didn't realize it had that.
Yeah.
That
which
really
greatly improves breathability.
Yeah.
Greatly. Obviously, you have your arms down, you have your pack straps. Your pits are going to get sweaty. The idea of this jacket is not necessarily to be a full-on puffy. It definitely will do that on warmer or slightly cool days where you can put a wind shell over it, like I have that Jetstream LT that I'm taking sheep hunting. That's one of my comfort items. But this underneath of a Jetstream LT, there will be a lot of sheep hunts where I don't even need anything more than this. But
and even by itself,
if it's genuinely cold enough, which is the problem here, if it's genuinely cold enough to need something to hike with, this breathes enough that I'm going to try it out.
And I feel like it's enough of a hybrid. And obviously, this is just going to be trying it, that you could both hike and then stop and glass with it without needing to change anything.
Right. Which is what the idea behind the Ambient is you can wear it on cold days all day long.
Do that better because the Ambient breathes far too well if it's windy.
It does.
It just blows right through it.
Yeah.
And this I feel like would fix that pretty well.
So I believe the Cirque Light has 60 grams per square meter of Primaloft insulation, and I'm going to verify that right now. And if I'm not mistaken, the full Cirque jacket is 133 grams per square meter, and I'm going to verify that.
That sounds right.
Before I definitively say it.
I might have to.
So the Cirque Light is 60 grams per square meter of Primaloft Gold. The Cirque jacket is 133 grams per square meter. So there's not a huge weight difference between the two. The Circ Lite is 10 ounces. The Circ is 1 pound, 3 ounces. So we're at 19 ounces there. So 9 ounces less for the Circ Lite, but a significant reduction by over half the amount of insulation in the Circ Lite. So I'm going to try it out just because it doesn't matter if you're wearing this with a pack on. You still have insulation in the sleeves. You have a hood that you can use. I'm not a real big hood guy, and because I'm bringing this, I'm going to take the hood off of my Barney's Super Cub jacket because I don't need more than one insulating hood. And this one fits me better than the Barney's jacket hood does. So I'm going to try it out. Just figured I would mention that. This, can be tacked on to the gear list that I already have if you want to just change that. But anyway, the jury is out. We will see how it does throughout this sheep season. I plan on wearing it a lot. It's nice and lightweight. 10 ounces for a Primaloft insulation jacket with breathable grid fleece.
Sitka has an ambient 75 now too.
I thought they did. Yeah.
And it's more like that 3/4 zip.
And it's still $300.
Yep. Well, that's at Bass Pro, but
okay, still.
Yep.
Which is part of the complaint and why companies like Outdoor Vitals are getting a lot of attention.
I'm thinking about trying the First Light.
The Navigator?
The Navigator. I've looked at that thing for at least a year.
It's very popular.
And it has a DWR. That intrigues me.
Yeah. So does the Sitka Ambient.
Right.
And so does the Circ Lite. Most garments have DWR on them like that. Next thing we'll get to is footwear. One more thing that's kind of up in the air. Like I said, we're just days away from going sheep hunting, and I still haven't decided what pair of boots I'm bringing. I know I said I was bringing the Kenetrek Mountain Extremes. I apologize for the mud.
But they're boots.
But they are shoes. I've got a little nick in the
So I have a question.
Right
I have
there.
A question about those. So I have the same pair of boots now, and I've been wearing them a little bit on and off. Not as much as I should have been. And I just kind of realized, a week and a half ago, like, ooh.
Better put those babies on.
And I hadn't worn them before, and so I bought some, they didn't have insoles in them, so I bought some Super Feet. And been wearing them around a little bit. And the one issue I've noticed is it seems somewhat difficult to tighten this, to not tighten above the body of my foot too much, but still get the heel snugged back in well. Because when I do that, then this wants to tighten up, and the top of my foot is just smashed.
Yeah. So you can do that. I'm pretty sure
I was going to play with the lacing a little bit.
Yeah, I believe at one point when I was using these exact ones sheep hunting, I changed the lacing and I skipped.
Did you skip the back, go up, and then come back or something?
I have done that before. Yep, and then you do an overhand here to lock that, and then you go tight up from there. Yeah, there are some different lacing things that I've played with. But yes, I'm familiar with the issue, and that's part of why I'm considering wearing these instead. The other issue is people talk about footwear a lot, and I think the industry has gotten better about stopping the recommendation of a specific pair of boots. More and more people are being more honest and saying, look, it's shoes, man. Wear whatever you like. You need to wear something that fits you, wear something that likes your feet, and vice versa. The Kenetrek Mountain Extremes I have run a lot. And part of the reason that I like them is on the Mountain Extremes, there is like a foam, soft-ish midsole in between the tread and your foot. And when you're on hard surfaces, up on the side hills or whatever, or you're walking from boulder to boulder and you're just contacting this much of the boot, these have a tendency to kind of grip that because there's some take up here in the midsole. That also plays against you when you're side hilling because it almost feels like it wants to go down.
Okay.
I don't know if that's just me. It very well could be. But the other thing is they are very, very soft and supple. Now, I've got hundreds of miles on this pair of boots. But it seems like that's been the issue with multiple pairs of this type of leather boot. This is not anything necessarily unique about a leather boot, but Kenetrek builds a great all-leather boot.
Should have brought my Kenetreks I wore with me in here today, but
I've had some other leather boot, comparable to this style with the full height and, full leather construction. There's nothing else in here that's stitched in. This is an all leather front and tongue. When I have had Kenetrek boots leak water, it's been back here at this little crush point.
Yeah, so I have the slide rocks, and they leak. Well, they don't. I say leak. This tab on the back, right here. So it's actually sewn on all the way on those, and on one of them, it's like all the thread and right here is actually completely separated now. And so when it crushes down there, it just opens up.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, I'd almost be tempted to wear them just because I wear them for work, which is I bought them originally because as a work boot, I got a really good deal. And I was like, oh, Kenetrek's for work. I wore Crispies for work for a long time. I like my feet to be comfortable all day, every day. And then my feet are pretty well accustomed to mountain boots.
Yeah.
When I put my feet into them. So then I got the Mountain Extremes, somewhat on your recommendation. And also, I liked the Kenetreks, and I was like, hey, let's just get their mountain boot. But those ones don't tie quite the same way as these do.
Right.
And anyhow, I'm sure I'll figure it out with the lacing. And
So this is a main concern for me, is because these boots are about 5 years old now. And for being 5 years old and as many miles as I've walked in this exact pair, they're in remarkably good shape.
They look,
fantastically good shape. And I've worn these a lot, even just bear baiting on the hike-in baits, a lot. So even on the years where I haven't done as much mountain hunting in the fall, I still wear these boots a lot in the springtime. So in contrast to the Kenetrek option, I have a pair of Lathrop & Sons boots. Now, I don't remember exactly what model these are. I got them used from somebody else. They fit me. They're a little tighter fit than those are, which I don't mind, and they're easier to kind of lock to my feet. They're a lot less flex. These are
pretty stiff.
Yeah, I mean, these take some oomph to flex, whereas these, there was a lot more flex. And the guys I know that have had blister issues, like the guys that I know that wear these goat hunting, where you're toe picking a lot, this is not the boot for that, because the toe flexes so much.
I kind of figured if I was going to have a problem, that's going to be where it was.
Right, because this does give a lot, which for a lot of sheep hunts doesn't really matter. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people across North America that wear Kenetrek Mountain Extremes for sheep hunting, and I've never had issues with mine, but I could see that being an issue in severe steep terrain.
And it depends on the foot.
Right. I've also worn some stiffer boots sheep hunting before, and I like them. I don't like the clip-clop feeling on hard rocks, though. That tends to beat your feet up. But in the country that I'm going into, I'm debating on whether or not this would be a better boot just for the stiffness aspect, because we're going to be in some relatively steep stuff, potentially, where the sheep are going to be. And this little spot in the back is not a breathable mesh type thing like it is on the Kenetrek. So I think this is less apt to leak water in the back. Now, at some point, you're just going to have wet feet sheep hunting. But to contrast, the sole of this boot is not nearly as soft on the bottom with this harder mid layer in between the boot and the outsole as the Kenetrek Mountain Extreme is. So this is not necessarily a conversation about footwear, but it's something to consider if you are looking for a pair of mountain boots to take hunting.
It's a conversation about footwear, not about specific boots.
Right. These are characteristics that can definitely come into play. If you like a softer overall with some structure leather boot, it's really hard to go wrong with a Kenetrek. They do a lot of things right. The fit is nice. And if they get soft on you over the course of a sheep hunt, or if you're side hilling and you just kind of are constantly flexing them laterally, there's not going to be a ton of ankle support there. Some guys don't want a stiff boot in that situation. Some guys like a softer boot.
I was going to talk about that because with the Kenetrek slide rocks are the ones that I have, and they're a light duty hiking style boot, not really built for hunters. And like I said, I got them for a good deal, and it was like half the price or something, brand new.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I've worn them on a sheep hunt, and I loved them. You would almost pick them up and say, oh, these have no stiffness to them.
Right.
Obviously, they have some, more than a tennis shoe or something like that.
Right.
But for comfort, I mean, I wear them on concrete at work, and they don't bother me. I do it. I climb up and down roofs, like steep roofs, all day long, and have had zero problems with those at all.
Yeah.
For the flex and stuff like that.
Exactly.
However, because they're lighter duty, their stitching coming loose, they were never very waterproof to begin with.
Yeah.
And so where I'm going now, I would not wear them just because of the waterproofness issue, and they're not very tall. They're like the Lathrop & Sons are a little shorter. I think they're a little shorter even. Anyhow, so I'm going to wear the extremes this year, and depending on how I like them, I'll keep hunting with them, or I might try to go for something in between for like something maybe with more ankle support, but a little less stiff sole.
Yeah, which is really hard to find because usually the two of them go together. If you have a nice stiff shank on the ankle, then you're usually needing some support, and so the company thinks, well, we need to make a nice stiff sole for this thing too, if you're in that kind of terrain.
Yeah, I think Crispy makes some stuff that has a little bit more nuance between those two.
Yeah.
That I might be willing to try.
Yeah. So anyway, something to consider, just again, conversations that you talk about it out loud and you think, you know, I can't be the only one thinking about this. It's worth noting, but every foot is going to be different. I haven't decided yet. I'm doing some pack hiking this week, just dialing things in. And I'm going to make the decision before I leave, obviously. I'm not going to carry both of them. Maybe I'll carry...
one of each?
Yeah. Maybe I'll have right foot Lathrop, left foot Kennetrek. And I'll just walk in circles the whole time.
Yeah, you could try that.
All right, moving on to food.
Food systems for the backcountry.
Fire it up, Mo. Take the lead.
All right. So... I don't tend to have a lot of organization in things in my life in general. And if you know me well, you know this. I tend to kind of just have I usually remember where I leave things, and if I don't, I can find them in short order. It's not a problem. And I function that way fairly well. And as a result, for food, I have usually just kind of gone with my instinct. You know, and with regular ATV or truck hunting, you're usually fine. Usually I have too much.
Yeah.
And when I went sheep hunting as a packer, I packed a little light, but otherwise I was fine. You know, I needed a little bit more day food when I was out there on that. And then when I went on my next solo sheep hunt later that year, I what I did, light worked out almost perfect. What I had for a day, maybe a little light again, but it like I had kind of a system, but it was only 5 days. And then last year, I didn't think about food at all till I got close to the hunt. And then I was like, oh crap, I gotta go buy food. And I think it was like a day ahead of time. A day before, I just went and bought a bunch of stuff at Walmart, and was like, I'll take 3 of the, you know. How many days I'm going to be sick? Because I was trying to carry everything for a 16-day hunt. And if I went into that area again, maybe I would. But so I had, all right, I need 16 of these and 16 of these and 16 of these. And it was 16 of the same exact things and the same flavors, and it was stuff that I was like, oh, yeah, I've had those before. I remember that being pretty good. Yeah. And so I ended up in a situation where I was carrying too much because I didn't weigh out any of my food. It was all anyhow. And it went... That was one of the contributing factors to the hunt turning out to a failure. And as I talked about in the last episode, I have worked very hard this year at having everything dialed as well as I can so that, those issues don't come up and I can focus on what I'm out there to do, which is finding and killing a sheep. So when I had these lined up in my house and I'm going through picking stuff out, weighing stuff out and all that kind of stuff, my wife is looking at me like, what is wrong with you? You don't do this. That's her type of thing to do, not mine. Yeah. Right. And so I have a day bag for every day. This is the food for the day. Part of it with the idea is that I will eat everything in here. Unless after a few days I realize like I just don't need it. And I'm carrying a few extra things that I don't need every day because maybe it's a little high in calorie count or something. But other than that, I will purposefully make myself eat everything in here. And one of the things I found is after dinner, say, I'm still a little hungry. Or after dinner, depending on what the weather is, after dinner, 2 or 3 hours after dinner, I'm hungry again. and I don't have anything to eat, so I'm digging into the next day's food or something like that. And so this should be enough in here to facilitate that, for have a nice bedtime snack. So starting with the breakfast is I do freeze-dried breakfast. I like a nice protein-rich, meaty breakfast, especially when I'm moving and hiking. I know during the day when I'm working, usually I don't have breakfast at the house, but I'll grab something to eat in the morning. And depending on how hard I'm working, I eat more. I find that. So for the most part, though, most breakfasts are bigger than I need.
Yep.
So I split them. This is the Southwest breakfast from Foundation Outdoors, split in half. I've got the water written on there, the name of the meal, and the brand, so I can kind of keep a log in my mind of what I liked and didn't like, because I'm trying a bunch of new meals this year.
Yep, me too.
And then for day, well, for I guess going with breakfast, I've got coffee.
Yep.
Enough for 1 cup of coffee every day, and I'm a sucker for coffee. I would drink 5 cups a day, but, well, it's sheep hunting.
Ounces are pounds, and pounds are pain.
Yeah. Now these together weigh very little. It's not a half an ounce. It's not even a quarter of an ounce. Yeah. But I love the Beanies instant coffee. I have rarely found an instant coffee that I cared for. You can smell them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just the smell of getting it out of the bag.
Yeah, that's nice.
Anyhow, it's a flavored instant coffee. And the flavor you can't usually really taste too much of, but it's just a really nice thought. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm the kind of guy that would like to drink coffee morning, noon, and evening, but trying to optimize, once again, I'm out there to kill a sheep. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to drink coffee before bed, because while I might be able to fall asleep after I've drank it, you don't sleep as well. Yeah. At least that's what the scientists or whoever tell us. So anyway, breakfast, coffee. Now for the day, I've got, these are freeze-dried cheese bites from Foundation Outdoors. These are one of the highest calorie to weight ratio things in here, I believe.
And you don't have to rehydrate those to eat them.
No, they're like labeled crunchy. Yeah, you can just eat them. And so this is just a snack to eat at some point during the day. Probably like the high protein stuff will probably be like a lunchtime thing. Mm-hmm. So with that, I've got some jerky, an ounce of jerky every day, roughly an ounce, a little bit more. This is No Man's Land jerky, some of my favorite jerky. Mm-hmm. I've got a fatty beef stick, nice big thick boy there, and that is 2 ounces. So the meat is a little lower calorie to ounce ratio, but I'm trying to keep this balanced enough that I'm not eating nothing but what would you basically you would be eating nothing but freeze-drieds if you wanted a super high calorie to ounce ratio for the whole time. Yep. And if you stuck to just that number, you wouldn't have a great balance of carbs to calories, or not carbs, carbs to protein and fat. And this is, I feel like, a relatively balanced for what I'm doing. Obviously, these are all high calorie, high carb, or high protein, high fat is what those are. That's basically lunch. Then for the rest of the day, I have some Peaks cookie bites. These or brownie bites.
Peak Refuel.
Peak Refuel, right? Not Peaks, yeah. Basically.
It's so similar.
Yeah, I know. Anyhow, and this is half of a package of those, 2 ounces of these.
Those are the brownie bites?
Yeah. This is 2 ounces, which is like 300 calories. So about 150 calories an ounce. Yep. Then I have, this is 2 ounces of cashews and raspberries with like a glaze on them, and a bunch of other sweet stuff in there. That's great. From the Sahale nuts, if you've had those, or Sahale, or however you say them, and I believe you. And 3 mini vanilla honey stinger waffles.
Those are nice.
Those are all high calorie to ounce. Those are like 160 calories to an ounce.
The cashews are?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Then I have sport beans from Jelly Belly Sport Beans. I don't know how many are in here, but it weighs an ounce. It's not a super high calorie to ounce ratio. It's only 100 calories, but it's got It's got some of them have a little caffeine. Not all of them do. It's not a lot of caffeine.
So what's the quick energy part of it?
So
Just
you've got 50
electrolytes?
milligrams of caffeine,
Okay.
carbs, electrolytes, vitamins B and C.
That's kind of your sweet treat.
It's a sweet treat. It's a snack. It still is beneficial, though. It's not just jelly beans, which I have carried. So I saw these and I was like, there we go.
Yeah.
And they're even packaged so I can only eat one a day instead of eating all of them on the first 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I've got that. And then the last, almost last snack, 2 last snack items is a Stroop waffle from GU Energy instead of Honey Stinger. I kind of like theirs a little bit better.
Okay.
I haven't had this flavor before. Coconut.
I have. It's good.
And then last but not least, a Tony's Chocoloni chocolate bar. I've got 3 different flavors of these randomly mixed throughout my meals. And all of this stuff, I have a plethora of flavors.
Mm-hmm.
The jerky, I've got 3 different flavors. The fatty beef sticks, I've got 3 or 4 different flavors. 2 different flavors of these nuts. The beans, 2 or 3 different flavors. Obviously, the waffles, there's like half a dozen different flavors. And I've got 3 different of these bars, some salted caramels and some dark chocolate and stuff. And then for a drink during the day, I have a Mountain Ops Hydrate, or I didn't quite have enough of these for every day that I had meals packed for, so I have some of the Nun tabs.
Yeah.
In those instead.
Okay.
And then
I'm not familiar with the Nun tabs.
They're
Are those local?
Yeah, REI. They're basically the lightest drink mix to get electrolytes in your water.
Okay.
Option.
Interesting.
They're not quite as flavorful and nice as that, but they're much lighter. But
Sure.
Then I have a freeze-dried, repackaged for weight and space meal. This is the beef stroganoff from Mountain Ops, which I have not yet tried. But one thing I noticed about the Mountain Ops is they call for a lot more water.
How much is that one?
12 ounces.
12? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of noodles in there. But
Yeah, I was going to remark about that. A lot of the noodles that are in the Mountain Ops dinner meals are substantially larger noodles than a lot of the other brands that I've tried before. That's something that you and I have in common this year is we are both trying a lot of the Mountain Ops freeze-dried meals.
Oh, and then for my evening drink, I have Serenity by Jan. Been waiting to say that. It is basically it's not actually a tea, but it's a powdered tea flavored. I like Earl Grey tea, but once again, try not to do the caffeine at night. So 2 of
for
these.
the folks that didn't get your little joke there, what's it actually called?
Serenity.
Okay, but it's not Serenity by Jan.
No, okay.
If you look that up, you're going to find something very, very different. Lovely candles, but not drink mixes.
Yeah, Serenity NutriPlus, and it is tea with natural lemon flavor. There might be some real tea in there, but it's supposed to be an Earl Grey.
Okay.
Copycat without caffeine, and it was cheap, so I went with it. There was some other options out there that were ridiculously expensive. So,
is that an Amazon order?
Yes, I got these on Amazon.
Cool.
So that is my drink before bed. Something warm that's not just water.
Just put 2 of those in 1 cup, or what?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to my other food, and then we'll argue about which of us is better off for our options. But I already know
definitely am.
You and I are so different when it comes to food. I'm noticing that you're going further and further one way, and I'm just sticking in the mud where
You're
I've always
almost
been.
going further the other way, though.
A little.
Looking at your bag there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of store-bought packaging right there.
Well, yes, there's also a lot of bars in there. Yeah. You know what? You see what's on it? The only bar here is a chocolate bar.
Yeah. Yep. Don't get me wrong. I just about went with the old Tony's chocolate. But
it is like 150 calories to an ounce, man. And it's got 4 grams of protein, 17 grams of fat. Like, this is a decent
I believe you.
Like decently, by somebody's recommendation, it's balanced.
Sure.
For what I'm going to be doing, it's balanced.
Something I recently learned is people that argue about the nutritional value is that nutrition facts and calories is indeed the largest lettering found on the back of most candy bars.
Oh, yep.
So that just proves it is nutritious.
Yeah.
So,
anyhow,
very cool. I have always kind of been of the mindset of as little possible change is nice.
Yeah.
I don't like messing with what I know I like.
Yeah. Well,
at some point I might change.
Right. As I started out with, I got to a point where I didn't really knew what I needed or liked. And I know I don't really like bars. Like after the second day of eating a bar or two a day, it's just already
get sick of it.
Dude, sometimes I'm halfway through one and I'm sick of it.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like last year, one of the things I did, and part of the reason I went to Walmart and bought a bunch of stuff is I went and bought a bunch of different bars, different flavors, and weeks ahead of time was eating them throughout the day. And I'm like, okay, as a meal replacement bar, as this for lunch,
sure.
How do I do? How does my energy feel? And sometimes energy would be fine, but like, man, those last few bites of that bar would just be not good. Yeah. I was just like, man, I don't want to finish this. I need to, but and so I don't want that to be a factor for me when I'm in the mountains.
Sure. Which is perfectly understandable, and I agree with you. If you don't like the food, then don't bring it.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to go through here is 99% stuff that I've eaten before.
Yeah, and I've eaten almost all. The only thing I haven't had the coconut flavored waffle, and the meals are different, new to me. Other than that, sure. I think I've had all of this.
Yeah. But to some extent, a decent freeze-dried is a decent freeze-dried.
Right.
That is what it is.
And the next day, it's going to be different if you don't buy all the same thing, which I've talked to people who have done.
Yeah, I have I have seen those folks as well. They're animals.
Well, I got a good deal, man, so I just eat all of the same thing.
Yeah. So you have 13 days consecutively of Mountain House spaghetti.
Oof.
Yikes.
Like, I could do a day of Mountain House spaghetti, but...
I guarantee that guy is very trackable in the woods. Okay, so for my meals... I'm going with a partner. I mentioned that in the last episode. It is my employer. So hopefully I don't come back without a job or an employer for that point.
Right. And hopefully he comes back with an employee.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got to take care of him. So we are going to split the breakfasts every day like you talked about splitting a breakfast. You're by yourself, so you only had to buy half as many breakfasts. We had to buy just as many breakfasts as normal, but I
Twice as many dinners.
Right.
Yeah.
However, I did not split mine up into different bags half and half because I found it to be somewhat of a challenge of this one, for instance, as you can see, Mo B&G breakfast, 32 grams of protein, 910 calories. B&G standing for biscuits and gravy.
MO being Mountain Ops.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my labeling system. This is an entire Mountain Ops B&G breakfast. When I tried to split this up by weight and by visual, I found it much too time consuming to try to figure out the right ratio. As you can see in the back here, there's a lot of gravy powder and freeze-dried sausage in there. And then there's biscuit chunks. Lovely. But I found myself with too much biscuits, too much B and not enough G from bag to bag. So I said, you know what? This is stupid. I'm just going to package them all together, bring one extra vac bag, and every morning we will just cook the meal, open it up, scoop, 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 looks like half, good enough.
So you're going to do what you should have just done when you freeze-dried the meals.
No, because it's all going to be hydrated.
Packed the meals.
It's all going to be hydrated.
You're going to scoop after you hydrate?
Oh. Yes, we're going to cook it and then split it up.
Oh.
See the point? Anyway,
I mean, since you're eating that meal that day, it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it sucks to split meals in the field.
Yeah,
I mean to split it and try to save some later.
No,
which I've done, and it's not a nice idea.
Not doing that. We're gonna cook a meal, and then we'll split it once it's cooked. That's gonna be the plan. So I have a bunch of these. We're on the books, I think, for like 13 total days of freeze-dried, and I think 12 days of planned snackage. So the 13th day is kind of a spare. It'll stay at a staging point where we're dropping off into our area. So I don't have all of these in a 1-gallon Ziploc. I think I'm going to go that way. I started out thinking that I was going to go with a quart-size freezer bag for all of my day snackage, and then all the freeze-dried would be in a separate bag in my pack. That way, I can separate one out of these to just stick in the lid of my pack or something like that, or take a few things and stick them in my hip belt pouch and then have the rest of it in the lid of my pack without having to have the freeze-dried moving all the time. Haven't decided totally on that yet. So, breakfast, and then this is my day snack bag. Some similarities, but some differences. In the morning, along with breakfast, I have this Alpine Start coffee. I got this at REI.
Yeah, it's not bad. I've heard pretty good about it. And it's fairly light.
Yeah, I've had it quite a bunch. I do like it. It's in town, and it was there when I was buying stuff. Which is half the battle, is finding it or ordering it. And I quite honestly really hate ordering stuff like this. I don't know why. It's just, I just
Seems
don't
like
like
something you would hate.
Yeah. It's a very me thing. Throughout the day, I have a Mountain Ops Hydrate, 1 per day.
Yeah.
This is just an electrolyte replenisher.
Can I comment on that?
Sure. Different flavors than all the freeze-drieds?
No. Did you get different flavors in all the freeze-drieds?
But
All
I
the
want
same.
them. Yeah, they were all lemon lime. Or
Lemonade.
Sorry, lemonade.
Yeah, I know. I was opening my freeze-drieds because the new Mountain Ops freeze-dried come with
one of these.
a drink packet, which is awesome.
It's all lemonade.
But it was all lemonade. And it was like, okay, I like lemonade, but...
I have 26 lemonades.
Oof. Well, you're eating more Mountain Ops than I am. I have like 8 lemonades.
Yeah.
Or 9, I don't know.
Yeah, I have 26.
And
so 13 apiece works out.
And I bought some other flavors of Hydrate too.
Yeah. But to me, that's one of those things. I know I like it. I don't really care. Would I like there to be some variety of Mountain Ops?
That's why I didn't.
Yes, I would. So in the future,
and then put on the package what's in it, or it could be a surprise, but make it variety because right now it's not a surprise.
It could be like Willy Wonka, the golden ticket. Maybe like every 10th meal could be a different flavor.
You just open it up and, oh man!
So throughout the day, these are all, with the exception of one, all things that I have carried sheep hunting before. We'll start out from left to right. Fatty beef stick.
Got a bunch of them yellow ones.
This is the original cheddar smoked meat stick. I have 8 jalapeno cheddar.
Have you eaten those before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
A bunch.
They're good.
8 jalapeno cheddar and then 4 of these original cheddar. Very much like. Next, I have the Pro Bar Meal on the Go bar.
Which flavor is that one?
This one happens to be s'mores.
Oh, I don't know if I've had that one.
So you'll notice a trend in my bars. You comment about how much you don't like just bars all day long. I like bars if they're all on the same flavor palette. And I know that sounds crazy. You would think, oh, you got to have variety if you're just going to have bars all day long.
You definitely have to have variety.
I don't.
This one, that might actually be good.
It's tasty.
I should just rip it open and eat it right now.
No, you shouldn't. It's like $2.50. So
this one looks like it might be good.
It's tasty. So you know how many flavors of those I have?
1?
3.
3, okay.
I have s'mores, chocolate chip.
And marshmallow?
No. I have s'mores, chocolate chip, and I think I have a few of the blueberry ones.
Well, that's not too bad. 130 calories per ounce.
Yeah. So then, moving on from the Pro Bar meal, so there's 400 in that bar. Then I have a Pro Bar protein bar, 20 grams of protein. This one is chocolate brownie, and there are 270 calories in this bar.
How much does it weigh?
This is 2.5 ounces.
And there's 270 calories? Okay. Yeah.
Not great calorie per ounce, but
a little
this
lower,
one,
but yeah.
This one tastes nice. I've had a bunch of these and a bunch of these. This I plan to eat in the morning, like along with breakfast. So in previous sheep hunts,
you've eaten just that.
This is all I've had for breakfast.
Yeah.
400 calories in the morning with a cup of coffee, and boom, I'm gone. It's nice. There's no water to be cooked. There's no messing around in the morning. I just roll out of my sleeping bag, fire up the stove, get a cup of coffee in my single wall titanium cup. It's cold in 15 minutes, which is about the time that I should take to eat
like
this.
3.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It is not that bad. So
if it's cold enough outside, it is.
Pro Bar, both chocolatey flavors. Okay. Next, I have a Tahoe Trail Bar. peanut butter chocolate. This one has peanut butter, chocolate chunks, cranberries, and raisins. This is 270 calories, and this is 2.2 ounces. 6 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, a little bit of fiber in the diet. Try to keep the old train going on the tracks. Okay. Again, chocolate. Now, my honey stinger, peanut butter chocolate. Now, these new ones have the nut butter in them.
I'm not a big fan of the ones with the nut butter.
I like them.
I've tried them, and it's just kind of like it almost doesn't taste like anything.
Really?
I feel like, and it's just kind of bland, and it's thicker and stickier in their mouth. And
Okay. So here's why I like the ones that have the nut butter in them. We're going to try to get through this.
Okay.
They are not dry and crumbly like the traditional honey stinger waffles are. After a while, they just kind of break up and they just kind of disintegrate.
Those GU Stroop waffles is they're a little gooier.
They are, but I think these are better than the GU Stroop waffles are. That's just personal preference. There's a bunch of different flavors of these. I got 2 flavors. I have peanut butter chocolate, and then I have, I think, the strawberry vanilla one. I know, how white of me. So, again, chocolate, 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 chocolate. And then moving on to the last bar I have is a peanut butter dark chocolate. And this is a Kate's Real Food Bar. This one is 260 calories. And it is, let's see here, 2.2 ounces. This is a nice calorie per ounce. This is basically a little cereal bar. They're easy to chew. They're not hard. I mean, I just broke it right there.
Oh, man. Gonna have to take it back.
They don't get hard as they age like these babies do. This one is a little bit harder of a chew. So it's nice maybe to stick this one in your pocket before you go munching on this one. So I like bars, and by volume, I mean, that's what I'm eating during the day. All of that, with the exception of the fatty beef stick, all of these can fit in my hip belt pouch.
Yep. Same with mine.
I like the fact that it's only a small item, big bar, and then 2 small items. I don't like a bunch of different things, and none of these right here, none of these things take me very long to eat, and I don't have to pay attention to anything while I'm eating them. I can be doing other things and just have a bite of a bar. Beef jerky, you're kind of picking your piece out, tear it off.
Yeah, but beef jerky can last all day.
I know. You can stuff it in your lip and chaw on it. I know. But when it comes to what I've eaten sheep hunting, I just like what I like. Right. I like the bars. Maybe in the future, not maybe, I'm sure someday I'll try something different and be adventurous. But
you're pretty adventurous with that fatty beef stick in there.
That's about the most out of character thing in my pack. But I have carried these sheep hunting before, and they are awesome. The only new thing that I haven't had more than just just to try them out is this Tahoe Trail Bar.
I've had 1 or 2 of those, and those ones I actually didn't mind as much.
Yeah. I ate a couple of these already, just trying them out before I bought all the sheep hunting food, and I liked these. So
no Cliff Bars?
No. I hate Cliff Bars. Man, might as well just eat moose turds on the side of the trail. I hate Cliff Bars. Then for a dinner, this is also a freeze-dried dinner. This was from Peak Refuel. Again, I'll go through my acronyms or abbreviations. PR, Peak Refuel, VCC, Venison Country Casserole, 40 grams of protein, 920 calories in this one. I have a mixture of dinners from Foundation Outdoors, Peak Refuel, Mountain Ops, and I think that's it for dinner variation.
Yeah, I have the same, but throw Mountain House in there.
Yeah. I got a pizza bowl in there. See, I like that one.
I got a pizza bowl. And so the one thing I don't have in this bag, I actually meant to grab one that was put together like this. But for some of the dinners, like some of the Mountain House dinners, especially that I like, are like 600 calories. Right? And so while this bag is like probably roughly 3,050 or so calories, you throw a 600 calorie meal instead of whatever this one is,
right?
Quite a bit higher calorie meal in there. It like, boom. You're down 300 calories.
Right.
Which on a slow day may be fine. But I figured to remedy that, on my slow day or on my lower calorie meals, I took a couple of I bought a couple of desserts and I cut those in half like my breakfasts. And so in my smallest calorie meals, I have that meal and a little dessert in there.
Dessert being what? Peach cobbler?
Apple crisp.
Oh, nice.
I've got one I've been beating around for a while from Alpine Start, I think. And then I tried the one from Foundation Outdoors.
Okay. So for me, this food loadout as it is, like you said, depending on the dinner and the breakfast for the day, because some of the breakfasts are lighter. Not every breakfast is going to be split, so I got a couple of the dark chocolate oatmeal breakfast with berries for some of the breakfasts, and those are pretty light in the calorie department.
You got those from Foundation Outdoors?
Yes.
Those are over 600 calories, which is the same size as most of the other breakfasts.
Well, the B&G is 910.
Oh, okay. Well, so most of the breakfasts I had were around the 600-700 calorie mark.
Yeah.
And so I was splitting those in half, shooting for that 300 calorie mark. I really like the Mountain House scrambled eggs with bacon, which is a 2-ounce, like 300 some calorie meal. And I find that it's perfect.
Yep.
So I kind of was just shooting for that 300 calories for breakfast.
Yep.
And if I'm still a little hungry with breakfast, I can make up those calories with stuff I have for the rest of the day.
Right. So breakfast, depending on the day, and then dinner, depending on the day, the variables is going to amount to my total calorie consumption per day average being between 2,700 and 3,200 calories per day, which is a pretty wide range. But most of the days, it's going to be around 2,900 to 3,000 for me.
Mine
just right in that ballpark.
Fairly even across the board.
Yeah. I shot for 3,000. For some reason, I was thinking that on previous hunts, I ended up with a lot less, like around 2,500 calories. But I started making a list in my head.
Like some cookies and homemade beef sticks.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of the math, and I figured out what I was carrying the last sheep hunt, and I came up with like 3,100 calories. So I thought, you know what? I was way off on my calorie count from what I recalled. So now that I'm, doing this again and thinking about it this year, I just went out and bought what I had bought before, and that's what I came up with, was right at about 3,000 calories per day. So that should be more than enough. And like you said, if for some reason I feel like it's just too much food, which I don't think it will be, then I can always just save a bar for a rainy day.
I came out to a rough average, I think. I haven't done the math to see what it is. 7 meals is 10 pounds for me. I weighed one at like 1 pound 6 ounces, so that obviously varies some with the different, adding a dessert here or there or whatever.
Yep.
And some of the meals weigh a lot less and have a higher calorie count, and some weigh more and have a lower, But so there's obviously some variance in weight, but 7 meals for 10 pounds is not bad.
Right. So I came out to an average of 1.6 pounds per day. That's about what I'm carrying.
Okay.
Yeah, 1.6 pounds per day, which at 13 days of freeze-dried and 12 days of snacks comes out to like 19.6 total, I think was the number I got. And that's for 13 days of freeze-dried and 12 days of day snacks. Yeah. So the 13th day is kind of a reserve day.
I did 14. I don't know how many I'm going to carry. Probably not more than 10.
Let me just do that math again really quick. The number sounds wrong.
The
12
1.6
and 1.6 become 19.2 pounds. Right. So just a hair over 19 for 12 days, which is not bad. I don't think we're going to carry 12 days of food at a time once we get to our staging area. I think we'll go with 5 days, go one way, hunt that. No sheep or no legal rams, or, hey, we're on a legal ram, but it's going to take some time to finagle it. One of us will go back, get more food, come back. If not, then we'll come back to the food drop spot and then go a different direction from there with the additional 6 days or 7 days that we have left.
I was going to do like 7 or 8 days. I think I was planning on doing 8 days originally. But then I kind of changed my hunting plan a little bit. And I think the area I'm looking at going into, I think 10 days should be enough.
Yeah, I think so.
To do what I need to do. And if I'm hungry hiking out for a day, it sucks, but
yeah. Eat some blueberries.
Right. Yeah. Well, and if I get to that point where it's like, wow, then I'll start to ration a little bit and save a chocolate bar or something.
Sure. Yep.
But yeah.
Yep. So pretty simple. That's just an idea of what we bring. It's nice to see some variety. You have approached it a different way, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important that you like what you're bringing to eat. If you don't, you're not going to eat it. You're going to be at a severe calorie deficit, and then you're going to run out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody else is going to beat you up the mountain. Which I know sheep hunting isn't a race, and it's not all about that. But it's nice to be able to see a ram and say, I need to get there and go.
Right.
And if you're properly fueled, then you can go. So anyway, food is fuel. Last thing on the agenda, we had a couple of listener questions. You want to do the one that we selected to do one here?
Oh, where did I put that?
And then another one that was a message. Let's see, we can summarize this one. So this one was a little while ago. We had lost track of a few of these emails. Let's see here.
For the end of March.
So this is an old email. We had not gone through these in a while, and we were kind of behind. So we apologize if you had written in. And so this particular question was about one of your episodes was on 300 Win Mag versus 300 Short Mag. That was a while ago.
That was an even older episode, I think, than...
Yeah. I was interested to know why our man with the 300 Win moved his 7 Rem Mag and went to the 300 route. What drove that decision, and if you don't mind me asking. The 7 Rem Mags are big here, but I've been looking to jump to 300 myself. One of these days I'm coming to Alaska to hunt caribou and brown bear. So this guy is from New Zealand, and I don't believe I see his name unless that's it, but I don't want to say that necessarily on here. So I remember that episode. We talked about that a little while ago. I mentioned going to a 300 for a few different reasons, and none of them necessarily involved a lack of capability with a 7 mag. It's just what I kind of wanted to go with. That might have been in context for a moose hunt that I was going on, that I shot the moose with a 300.
Oh, right.
That was for no particular reason. A 7 Rem mag will kill anything that a 300 Win mag will kill just fine.
Most of the time, we have multiple guns that'll do the job, and we just have to come down to either a really good reason or
just
I feel because we feel like it.
Yeah. I feel like shooting this time.
Yep.
In the case of the 300, I've carried it a few different times because I wanted to shoot something with a different bullet. I shot my last moose with a 200 grain Federal Terminal Ascent.
Right.
Worked fine. Nothing ground shattering there. But I know that factored into the last couple of times that I've carried a 300. But that's not even remotely to say that the 7 Rem Mag is an incapable round. If you have a 7 Rem Mag that you like shooting, that you shoot well, that shoots well, and you're familiar with it, there's no need to change to a 300 because of more power.
Unless you want to.
Yeah. If you want to, that's fine. I mean, obviously, this is it's a free gun economy.
Throw a bigger bullet further.
I would argue that.
If you're hand loading.
It depends, and at what cost. 300 Win Mag, you have an additional recoil factor to consider, and
I'm just saying, if you
with
want
the correct 7mm bullet, you're going to outrun a normal 300 Win Mag factory load.
Right, and that's why I said a bigger bullet.
If you hand load, you can
hand
shoot
loading,
easily. You can shoot much further than you would ever need to shoot in a hunting situation. Certainly with a 7 Rem Mag. And you can do the same thing with a 300 Win Mag.
Right.
Cost of factory ammo doesn't really come into it as much. I think they're probably pretty similarly priced, which, be it what it may.
What it comes down to is it's really all about the love of the game.
Yeah. It just doesn't matter. 7 Rem mag will do anything that a 300 Win mag will.
So will a 6 arc.
I've shot a whole lot of stuff with a 7 Rem mag, and they're all dead, but everything I shot with a 7 Rem mag is just as dead if I would have shot it with a 50 BMG. Okay? Dead is dead.
You went up there.
I went for it.
Yeah.
I reached up on the top shelf for that one.
Yeah.
But the point is, and this is something that I wouldn't mind talking about a bit more, and this actually plays into another question that we got at the time of this recording. Our last episode recently dropped, and that was the pack dump. I mentioned that I was carrying a 25-06 in that episode, and I got a message about, why would you carry 25-06? I thought, they were bears, and what are you, are you concerned about bears? And I said, well, we kind of addressed that in the episode. As time has gone on, I've come to realize, to kind of my own realization that I've been guilty of over-dramatizing the bear encounter argument, as I think a lot of us have. I know, that's so shocking to believe. But the reality is, you just need to hit the bear.
Yeah.
If you're carrying a 243, hit the bear. Not with the rifle.
Unless that's all you got.
But fire it.
If you're out of ammo.
But fire it and hit the animal. And
if the bullets were too small and too fast and they just whizzed right through him.
Without expanding. Oh, boy. Oh, man.
Then you might need to hit him with the rifle.
Yeah. Club him over the head like Davy Crockett at the Alamo. Just swinging it by the barrel. No, I have been guilty of even giving bad advice. And I think about some of those times, and I'm embarrassed to even think about it. When I would say, well, no, you should definitely hunt X animal with X round, because you could run into a grizzly bear or a brown bear. And then I've caught myself deer hunting with a round that I have spoken against using against a charging brown bear. And I thought, well, I'm in brown bear country and I'm not carrying a 375, so why would I have ever said that? That was stupid. And part of it also, that there has been a shift amongst some trustworthy people where they have shot increasingly higher number of animals in recent years with smaller caliber guns. This is not an industry secret. It's everywhere. And different bullets and different applications. Started out with the match bullet argument, and now there's other bullets involved. And it's kind of humbling to just step back and say, you know what? We've been told this. I don't want to call it a lie, because I don't think it's necessarily a lie.
It's an antiquated
because
idea.
That implies intention of deception.
No, it's an antiquated notion based upon what was available even 100 years ago.
I think it is people that are unwilling to re-examine old information.
Well, and that's what I mean. Yeah, it's not
It's people that have been doing something for so long, and because the old magazine articles always said it, and the magazine articles before that always said it, and you need more speed, or you need more bullet weight, or you need to go up in caliber size, and
it's pride too.
Yeah.
Say, well, I've got such and such,
or it's pride to refuse to admit, to say, hey, you know what, I was wrong about that. And then to recant from a position.
Because if you're not willing to recant, you're just going to buckle down.
Well, and that is, I didn't want to take it this route, but it's a good application in saying there are political examples of that. And I think that people are decreasingly trusting of, let's just call it, establishment information. And I grew up reading that, the 375 was the best caliber for brown bear, the 300, that the 338, the low end of a 300, but a 338 was optimal for moose hunting. And a 300 was about the perfect all-around gun for most big game in North America. And what I'm coming to realize is that that's not necessarily true. Maybe it's to do with modern projectiles.
I think it's modern projectiles.
I think that has a lot of it.
It's the increased efficiency of our cartridges.
I think it's also coming with the desire of people to shoot somewhat longer ranges.
Yeah,
but even the guys that don't want to shoot longer range are realizing that, hey, I don't need to shoot a 300 Win Mag to go caribou hunting or moose hunting or blacktail deer hunting. And that has kind of led to some people talking about this, and that has drawn a lot of polarizing conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't jumped on the train of
the ultralight cartridges.
Yeah, I mean the 6 Creedmoor seemed to be kind of at the beginning of this conversation, and now it's all the 22s, and there are a lot of guys shooting 22 Creedmoors or 22 ARCs.
A swing to ultralight cartridges, when in reality there is some wisdom to probably just stick into something in the middle.
Yeah, if you can shoot it well,
if you can shoot it,
then keep on shooting it, whatever.
And in reality, shoot what you want to shoot.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. None of this is to say that you shouldn't buy a 300 if you want a 300 Win Mag. If you want a 300, well, go buy one. But the reality is you're not going to practice as much with it, and even if you do, you're going to develop worse habits with it, and the recoil is going to affect how you shoot. And I used to think, man, there is no way that I'm going to shoot a smaller cartridge any better than I shoot a 300 or even a 7 Rem Mag. And I shoot a 7 Mag and a 300 fine. I've killed a lot of animals, especially with a 7 Rem Mag. For years, that was my primary hunting rifle. And I would have no problem taking it out tomorrow on a hunt. But recently, in the last year or so, since I have acquired a somewhat lighter cartridge in a 25-06, which some would say is not even a light cartridge, that there's more powder than a lot of these newer cartridges have, even for that velocity and bullet weight range. It is not the most efficient cartridge available in its class, but even that compared to a 7 Rem Mag or a 06 or a 300 is massively more enjoyable to shoot. It's incredibly cheaper to shoot, even just buying factory ammunition. You can buy cheap 25-06 ammo at the store for like $35. You cannot do that with a 300 Win Mag.
Or
you won't find it.
Yep.
You won't find it.
You used to find it for $45.70, totally different cartridge, but that doesn't exist anymore either.
So cost of practice affects your willingness to go break the bank to go practice or not.
Right.
And I have just come to realize, I like carrying the rifle better. It's a somewhat lighter rifle, and it's much more enjoyable to shoot. Now, it's not quite the right rifle for me to be able to spot impacts at less than a couple hundred yards. It does move too much. It's a light gun. It does jump some. I don't really care about that too much. I do want to build a gun, and I'm kind of thinking about what I want to build, kind of based on what I've seen from that. And I plan on carrying that 25-06 for every hunt I have left this fall.
And then he's going to get like a 50-90 Sharps.
Not a chance. I mean, maybe to hang on the wall back here, just for an antique decoration. But, and then again, that's not to say that I'm never going to do anything with a 416 again. As a guide rifle, I think a 375 or a 338 or a 416 is great. And even if I wanted to go shoot something with those cartridges, but it's not to say that you need that to accomplish that.
And if brown bear is your target species, then there's a lot of wisdom to carrying that bigger round for potentially more ethical of a situation. Why do you carry a big gun when you're guiding then? Part of it's for looks.
No.
But
it's what I've seen. That's where it comes down to.
It's what the client expects too.
Well, yeah, I really don't care about that.
But you talk about, like you're putting as many rounds in that bear as you can before it hits the brush, right?
Right.
And there is very little similarity between the way a 6 Creedmoor is going to hit that brown bear and a 416, or a 300 Win Mag at a 416. You're hitting it a lot harder.
This is going to kind of shoot me in the foot, but I'm just going to say it anyway.
What's that?
That this is not going to come across right to some people, but I'll say it this way. as a resident of Alaska, you and I don't have to have a guide.
Nope.
So, if we're deer hunting this fall,
Yep.
and I've got a 25-06, and you have a 338 arc, or your 6 arc.
Mm-hmm. One of the two.
Okay. All 3 of those rounds would be considered quite inadequate for brown bear hunting by the standard that we're referencing of you need a bigger gun for these bigger, more dangerous animals.
Well, I'm not saying you need it. I'm saying there's some wisdom to it.
Humor me. If you see a brown bear, and let's say that you are 100 yards or less, and you get a good broadside shot, and you put the first bullet in the lungs to the best of your ability, and then that bear takes off for the brush, and you maybe pop him 1 or 2 more times, and then he's gone. You can't see him anymore. What are you going to do?
Well, after a little while, I'm going to follow him.
Right. You're going to wait. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing with a 25-06. If it's, if it's a bear that I actually want to shoot. I'm not going into this deer hunt wanting to shoot a brown bear. I'll have a tag, but I'm not looking to shoot a brown bear. I do the same thing in that situation. And this is where it's going to get not so great for my cause.
Right.
But we're residents. We don't need guides. Who holds the liability for walking in the brush after that brown bear?
Me.
You do.
Yeah.
Or I do, if it's my bear. The most we're going to do is I might inReach you and say, hey, why don't you come back down, come meet me, let's go pick up the trail of this bear. And vice versa. We might do that.
Depending on what the situation is.
If we're in relative close proximity to one another, that's about the most we would do. But still, the risk is all personal on this. There is no amount of business risk that goes on in this equation. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay. As a guide, it's different.
Right.
As a guide, I'm working for an outfitter who is responsible for the safety and well-being of that client.
Yeah. And as a result, you are.
Which makes me responsible. Which means if I can kill that bear or stop it from getting in the brush after the client makes his first shot, which he or she is instructed, you do not stop shooting until I tell you to stop shooting or you're out of ammo and you're reloading to continue shooting. At which point I will commence firing if it's close to the brush. And given the situation, right? My role is different in that because I don't want to put the client in that situation.
Right. I wasn't.
So in that, and that, I want to stress that is an extreme scenario.
Let me bring a new phrase to the conversation.
Okay.
So we don't like the terms because of misuse, like what's it? Lots of stopping power,
knockdown power,
power, stopping power.
Yeah, a lot of energy,
right? But the 416 or 375 kills with more effect, or it hits with more effect.
I'll counter you.
And what I mean by that is, or say it hits with more effect. Maybe not kill it, but it does the same. It may do the same job, but it does it with more effect. Okay. And that's why you carry it.
Okay. In that particular role, I agree with what you're saying. I shoot a larger than average size gun, we'll say, than if I was hunting because in a backup shot scenario, most of the time the bear is running away. And a lot of the shots that I've taken on running brown bears are through the back end. And I know that a 400 grain bullet going 2,400 feet a second at the muzzle is not going to necessarily make the biggest wound channel in the world. That's not what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to have enough momentum that when it hits, it can break the back leg, go through the guts, go through the vitals, and then break a front leg if it has to. Or hit the spine along the way, but it's going to get through the entirety of the bear. A 416 does that. A 375 does that. The 416 just makes a little bigger hole.
Bigger bullet, heavier bullet, yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
It
doesn't mean that on a broadside shot, a 416 is going to kill a brown bear any faster than a 30-06
That's why I changed the wording to say it hits with more effect
on those extreme shot angles, which in reality are extreme examples. That's not normal. And for most people that are going into bear country, that's not normal. That's why I said earlier, to my own demise.
Well, and that's why I wanted to.
I've been guilty of thinking that way because of that guiding mindset.
Get you talking about that way because it sounds like you're coming. Well, when I'm guiding, I carry this, but really,
right.
From the other thing you're saying, there's no reason.
Right. It's not that there's no reason. It's that there is a difference in liability. I will have
liability, and if I was going brown bear hunting,
yeah,
or when I go brown bear hunting, I will probably. I have a 375. I may not carry it. I might buy an even bigger gun. I showed you the gun I want to buy.
Yeah,
and if I have the means, I probably will because, well, it's cool.
Yeah,
and it's a bigger gun, and it'll be. Well, it's really cool,
yeah.
But and I like that kind of thing. But it's a, and then and if that bear is charging me, guess what? Hitting a bear with a 400 grain bullet in the face is a lot more effective than an 80 grain bullet in the face.
Can be,
or a 150 grain bullet in the face.
Can be, but if it gets in the brain, it gets in the brain. It gets in the brain. If it doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's a 75 grain bullet out of a 22.
But would that 75 grain bullet out of a 22 penetrate the skull?
If an arrow will, then why wouldn't a 22?
At the right angle, that arrow did, but at the wrong angle, it wouldn't.
Same thing with the bullet.
Exactly. Bigger bullet will, though.
Maybe.
It'll break the bone and plow right through it. That bullet's gonna that bigger bullet's gonna carve a straighter line. The same reason you want to shoot them up. If you have to shoot them from the tail end, you want the bigger, heavier bullet.
Sure. Yeah, I guess the point I was trying to make is I wouldn't have any reservation about shooting a brown bear if we're deer hunting and I see a big bear or a bear that I just want to shoot, whatever. If I shoot a brown bear in the lungs with a 25-06, I'm going to wait a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever. Maybe I'll be able to get reinforcements, maybe I won't. And I'm going to go in the brush. And I'm not really going to have any less confidence in going in the brush if I know that shot was a killing shot. I'm not going to think any less about tracking that bear than I would if I'd shot it with a 375 or a 338 or a 416. It's going to be just as dead. They're not that hard to kill. They're just harder to put down. Stop faster. Right? If I turn around and shoot a deer with a 25-06, it's not going to go as far as that brown bear might. Blood volume, oxygen volume, heart rate, situational
or
alertness.
It might.
It could. It very easily could. And there are a lot of stories out there of guys, I shot a brown bear on Kodiak with a 270 and I shot it once and it spun around and died.
I shot the biggest black bear I have ever shot was with the 30-30. Rolled over.
So,
yeah.
I hope that wasn't too convoluted of a way to say. Like, there is just different liabilities and things in play with the guide thing versus a personal hunt.
And like everything in life, it's not black and white.
No.
There's nuance to everything.
Yeah.
The choice of cartridge has far more to do with your own personality and the people you know and what they're telling you need to have.
The biggest part about all of this, and you and I have said this a lot before on this podcast, is I don't really care what you shoot.
Just shoot it well.
Just shoot it well. It doesn't really matter. There are so many good options out there now today, it doesn't really matter. You can, I don't even want to say get away with, because you're not getting away with anything. There's nothing groundbreaking about shooting a moose with a 243 with a good bullet. There's nothing new about that.
Yeah.
People all around the state in the villages do it every year.
With a 223.
Most of them do it with a 223.
Yeah.
Yeah. And us, know-it-alls are going to sit back and armchair quarterback it and say, well, that's not very ethical.
Well, when it's 10 shots from with an 80 grain FMJ to put the moose down.
Okay. You get the point, though.
Yeah.
You get the point. I'm not saying that you have to do it like that.
It's still just as dead.
And in some cases, you can't legally do it like that.
Right.
Moving boats or moose in the water, situations like that we can't. But great, another example. Yesterday, I watched a video of a guy shooting a walrus with a 270. killed it dead. Most people, if we were going to look at a walrus cartridge, would not say, yeah, 270 will be fine.
Yeah.
It's just not that complicated.
Right.
And it's okay to have a different opinion.
I'm listening to the hide hunters right now.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
I told you that before. And I mentioned a few minutes ago the 5090 Sharps, which was, I believe, the most popular cartridge that they were hunting with. But that's a 500 grain lead bullet that they were casting themselves in the field and reloading themselves. I don't remember. I don't believe he said what the
velocity.
Oh,
they didn't know.
What we know today.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. roughly what it is. And I don't know how to,
they just made it out of the barrel and hit the buffalo.
Yeah, well, they were, 200 to 300 yards was pretty common of a range, which is significant.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds impressive now, but how many rounds did they lug across the plains?
It seems like an average of 2 to 3 per animal.
Yeah.
2 to 3, depending. But
it's also easy to romanticize the marksmanship
he does
of
not
years gone by.
do that in that book.
That's good because there's a lot of that kind of Yahoo nonsense out there. The same thing can be said of people that have sat around hunting camp and told lies about how Grandpa made a 700-yard shot with his 270 and a fixed 2.5 power scope in the 70s. Could it happen? Sure, but Grandpa wasn't doing that every weekend.
Right. Well, it's just like there is a documented instance of, and I think he does mention this in the book. There was a buffalo hunter shot an Indian at over 2,000 yards. It was pure luck that he hit him and knocked him off his horse. Far? It was over 2,000 yards, I believe it was. Yeah.
All right. I mean,
it was pure luck, and even he himself said that it was pure luck.
Sure.
Right?
He was just lobbing it in his general direction.
Yeah. They were out there kind of riding in circles, about to attack, and he shot at him and hit the Indian, and it worked because they said, "No, we don't have good medicine," and they left for that day. And then they came back and wiped him out. But not exactly, but 1,300 to 1,420 feet per second.
That's cooking.
500 grain lead, fairly soft lead bullet, although they would add a little bit of tin to kind of harden it up a little bit. You can buy a commercial modern load, a 10X Cowboy 500 grain round nose flat point, 1,420 feet per second. Black powder loads. Okay, yeah, 1,270 to 1,450. Okay. Anyhow, so yeah, a 500 grain bullet that is half an inch in diameter.
Yeah.
Going 1,400 feet per second at most.
Yeah.
Is less energy.
Yeah, which is complete bogus. Quit talking about energy.
But we're talking about a bullet. It's not a round ball that they were shooting at this point, but it was either a flat nose or a round nose bullet that they would actually put paper around to that would act as kind of a sabot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyhow, fun fact. Anyway, if they're shooting buffalo with that, now granted they're not charging buffalo or anything like that. But, and fairly often, one shot would kill a buffalo just fine, right? It had more to do with where they hit the buffalo or whatnot. If they were hunting with that, and that, of course, was the best rifle for what they did. That's why they used it.
Sure.
Then anything today.
Yeah.
Anything from a 243 on up.
Vastly superior.
Yeah.
Vastly, with deforming bullets that either mushroom or break apart.
Right.
Whatever your taste in poison is in that department. And that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, for the time, those were considered extremely accurate, too.
Sure. I'm sure they were. But I mean, at a time in history, a bow and arrow was about the most precise weapon that you had to kill something that didn't have to be within arm's reach.
It was one of the first cartridged rounds.
Interesting.
Was because it was that falling block.
Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I think I'm going to listen to that book, Sheep Hunting.
It's
yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that kind of goes off on the tangent of the question we talked about from that question/comment that we got about that 25-06 topic. I know that it'll work fine. It's just, I have it. I really like shooting it. And
so is that a comment about you taking it on your sheep hunt? What if you see a bear?
Yeah.
The other aspect to a sheep hunt too is most of the time you're going to see a bear a long time before you're having an issue with it. So you have time. Yeah. And that's another thing with a bigger gun. Why do you carry 45-70 in the bait?
Because it's short and handy and fast.
Yeah. But there's a reason you're not carrying the same size 6mm.
If they made one, I might.
I don't think you would.
Maybe.
Because there is something to a heavy bullet.
It's momentum. It's just, I'm just going to shoot through it.
Yeah. Whereas a 6mm may not. Potentially, it has more problems that it could cause because of it.
Yes and no. And see, I had this thought too. I thought, if all I had was a lever gun 30-30, I would take that as a backup gun into a bait too.
Yeah.
Whatever. I like the lever action because it's a short barrel and it's fast and it's slim and trim and nice to carry. That's a lot of it. The cartridge, sure. I mean, it has a cool factor.
Yeah, I know we don't like.
I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah, let me put it this way: I know we don't like the phrase "stopping power," but it absolutely is a real thing. It's just not needed most of the time that people think they need it.
And it's hard to define what that is. Yeah. Because you can achieve far greater damage in an animal with a much, much smaller cartridge than a 45-70.
If you hit it in the right spot.
Okay, I'm just talking about damage of a projectile.
Correct. And that's where I think it's the distinction there is that you're carrying that into the bait because you don't know what position that bear is going to be in when you first take a shot. Well, but most likely it's facing you head on.
But you know what I'm shooting when I'm at the bait? A super soft lead bullet.
Yeah, but it's also 400 grains.
300.
Still, it's 300 grains.
But it's just going to flatten out into a big pancake and make as big of a wound as I can with it. That's the goal. That's why I've got it.
Right, but but there's a specific but it's still a bigger gun. Like
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
It has a purpose. It does have a place. Like I'm not. Yeah. That's what I mean. You can't go, and I know you're not doing this, but you can't go so far in the small calibers direction that you say, "Oh, we just don't need the big stuff anymore."
No, I'm not trying to say that.
And there's no place for it, and there's no justification for it, because there absolutely is a justification for it. You don't need it all the time.
Right.
Anyhow, and yes, as a resident, I've been carrying a 338 ARC for a lot of what I've been doing, including bear hunting, and I will carry that probably while deer hunting. And yes, I may stalk and try to shoot a brown bear if given the opportunity with a 338 subsonic.
All you have to do is disrupt vital function. I don't know how many times we've said that. And that's something that I think the messaging has gotten clearer about that in the industry. Yeah. Is that it's not about, well, is it going to shoot all the way through, or how does the bullet look? And I mean, look, hand on the Bible, I was guilty of that for a long time. Well, how does the bullet look? It doesn't matter anymore. I have learned with experience and learning from other people that have more experience that doesn't matter. What matters is the result.
Right. Well, and there
are different applications for different projectiles,
and there are bullets
and the
projectiles
desired results.
that have more reliable results. Right?
Sure.
There's a reason we do shoot the majority hammer. Because from what we found, it's the most reliable result.
I would say that of that type of bullet, it's been the best one that I've shot. But to be honest, I've only shot the variables that exist within that company. I haven't shot any other kind of fragmenting copper bullets yet. And I wouldn't be against doing it. And we've talked about that before.
Right. But that's the other thing.
How much work would it take to
shoot all of these other bullets enough to actually be able to say something? Because we've had to shoot a lot of stuff with hammers to actually be able to really sit down and say, you know what? These work and we trust them.
Yeah, exactly.
And we say that not being paid.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
And
that's not a bought opinion. But
no bought opinions here.
But that being said, I'm not even taking hammers yet in my 25-06. When I've got it out sheep hunting, I'm going to have...
But that's because of ballistics.
It has to do with ballistics greatly.
Right. It has to do with how well they fly, and you just aren't happy enough with that.
Yeah.
The reason you're not happy with how well they fly is primarily because you're shooting a lighter bullet. Whereas if you were shooting a 30 cal class, you would be more likely probably to carry them.
Yeah.
because you know they're heavy. They're going to buck the wind, and it's heavy enough and going fast enough at the beginning that it's going to buck the wind, and it's going to carry far enough, long enough. You know, once you hit that 400 yard and you're pretty much happy, then you know when you see those numbers, you're like, all right, good.
Yeah.
But with a lighter bullet, you have to be more selective for specific application.
That plays into it.
Yeah,
it does. It also has to do with my own fact
and
of I just didn't create time to hand load this summer.
But also if you wanted to carry them, it wouldn't be a problem. You're just trying to maximize the effectiveness of what you're trying to do.
Exactly. So, anyway, that's the 25-06 choice and small-ish guns in general. Doesn't really matter. I hope
it took us 30 minutes to say that, but
it always does when it comes to guns.
Yeah,
it always does. And you know what? It's fun to talk about. It's something that I'm still.
There's a lot of nuance.
Yeah, I'm still kind of in some ways adjusting to the idea that it's perfectly fine. And I find myself having to remind myself that, you know what, it is going to be fine. It's going to work just fine. But for so long, there was the mindset of, no, I need at least this, or I need at least that.
I have come far more to the position of designing a cartridge to a rifle instead of a rifle around a cartridge. Right, because for most guys are buying a lot of times a rifle based upon the cartridge that they want it to shoot, and it's and a lot of times designing a rifle around a cartridge. Okay. If you're going to build a rifle, you're usually building it around a cartridge, trying to maximize that cartridge. Okay. When 90% of the cartridges on the market, any of them with decent velocity, are going to do everything you need them to do. And so, of course, we maximize those things, and we like to just, get this rifle. And it's like, you got your buddy with his Wildcat, which I might be someday, who's going to sit there and tell you all the things about why his is the best for the application he built it for. And you know what? There's a factory load and a factory gun that would work just as well. But, it's America, and we like to really be custom. And we like to spend money on things that, And so where I'm at this point, I really like guns for the sake of guns. The function of the rifle itself over the cartridge. You asked me while I was building my 338 ARC, you said, why don't you build another, why don't you build another bolt action? And I said, well, because I've got one, I'm happy with it. Right? I've got a bolt action. It's a Tikka. It does great. Never had an issue with it. I hadn't shot the thing for 3 years. I have dropped it out of my truck door, carried it into the mountains multiple times, rattled it around on the wheeler. I have had it across the front of my wheeler and had it smacked with willows repeatedly for over a mile, both ways going in and going out. I had to adjust it 2 clicks to the left. I love that rifle. Love that scope. I might change the stock out on it at some point. But other than that, I'm never taking the scope off that rifle. I say that, we'll see. But now I'm looking at sheep hunting and saying, okay, what would... Not the cartridge. 300 short mag, it's great. Okay, it shoots as far as I could ever need to shoot. It's potentially viable out to 800 yards.
Sure.
Right? And I'm never going to shoot a sheep that far with it.
Yeah.
So it works fine, but what could I do? I could build a lighter rifle. I could do something with a folding stock, which I really, really want. Okay, now what cartridge kind of fits that application in the rifle that I find that I want?
I've kind of gone even a step
I'm looking at this
further in that direction.
I like that Seekins, with the Element Hunter, I think.
Yeah.
That with the folding stock, that one's cool. I've also looked at the Sig Cross, although it's not as light. It has the function, but it's not as light. And so if I'm going to, in the fact that I'm going to go, if I go a lighter rifle, I'm not going to get it in a 300. I'm going to go with it kind of as light of a cartridge as I'm comfortable of the ballistic profile.
Exactly.
Because I want it to just have low recoil, be easy to shoot.
That's where I'm coming to. That's increasingly more and more that I'm thinking along those lines of, all right, what is the most realistic recoil that I can shoot and really focus on being able to try to spot my own impacts consistently, without needing a big muzzle brake, which is how I've always been able to do that before for the most part, is if I'm going to see my own impact through my own scope, I've got to have a big brake on it. And I could certainly put a brake on my 25-06, but that'd be a bit stupid. I just don't like muzzle
Yeah.
brakes that much.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I've gotten away from that.
And I'll probably go for suppressed too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But where I'm going with it is I am seeing a trend in, and this is partly just where I'm at right now, is the 25 cals. There's a lot there. The 128 grain Hornady ELDX has a great ballistic coefficient. That'd be a great bullet to hunt with. And it's a great long-range applicable projectile at that point. Well, what cartridge can I launch that out of to get what velocity, to get at what range? Well, 25 Creedmoor is out. I could go 25 Creedmoor. I could try to hand load it in my 25-06, but I need to check about overall length. I need to make sure that that's going to work in the magazine of the gun. Velocity-wise, I believe the Creedmoor is going to get it very close to, if not the same velocity that I can get out of the .6 case. So
unless you hand loaded the .6.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm doing some research into that, but that 128 grain ELDX going around 3,000 feet per second is an incredibly capable round, way out there.
I'm leaning towards 6.5 Creedmoor now.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards something more efficient in the 25.
It's ubiquitous.
It is.
There's that whole Peak thing out now, which I haven't even read a headline about, but I've seen some stuff about.
The Peak alloy case.
Yeah.
From Federal.
Right. That intrigues me.
Yeah, turns it into a 6.5 PRC basically.
Yeah, and so I like the versatility there, and it's a lighter, easier to shoot. It's lighter. It's still big enough where I can shoot heavier bullets, which I do like shooting heavier bullets.
Sure.
You know,
you can shoot 140, 150-ish grains, easily.
And then if I can run that alloy case and get some more velocity, well then,
what's not to love?
Yeah. You know, I could go something smaller, but you know, I kind of like, and it's what I want. It's what I like. Like, I could. I'm really gonna ruffle some AR guys' feathers here if they're listening to this, but I could probably go buy a $500 AR-15 223, slap a $500 piece of glass on it, and I could kill a sheep just fine with that.
Oh, guaranteed.
Just fine.
Yeah. Just have to shoot it.
I could probably do it with
figure out how good it shoots.
$200 piece of glass at these days.
Yeah. Go shoot it, make sure it's shooting fine, and then go hunting.
Yeah. 300
yards or less.
Oh, no, you could do 400, no problem with that.
You think with a cheap AR, 400 yards?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
dude,
I ain't an AR guy.
The thing with it, the most the cost comes with the ARs is longevity of parts. So if you're running the thing a ton, you're going to have more issues sooner.
But precision?
They're not that imprecise, dude. They really aren't.
Well,
sure, you might have make sure it shoots okay. But really, most guns, shoot better than you can.
Well, I think the whole group size thing is way overblown too.
Right.
And
and it may not like one bullet, and it may like another because of twist rate or whatever. There, and
that's another thing is, there's my 3-shot group. I can cover it with my thumbnail. Yeah. All right. What's
right?
What do the next 10 look like?
But you got to hit a pipe plate at 400 yards.
Sure.
Like, I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm not recommending you do it.
Yeah.
I would say go buy a Ruger American.
Oh no!
For the price?
Can't stand
what are those?
I just don't like them.
I'm just talking about for the price. Okay, go buy any bolt action rifle for $500.
Sure. Yeah.
And
go buy a Winchester XPR.
Okay, I don't even know what all those are.
I hate the Ruger.
I'm not a poor anymore. I'm just kidding.
No, but we're fuds.
Yeah, a bit less and less so.
Less and less, sure.
But go buy the Vortex scope that $300 and is a new model. Don't buy an old model $300 Vortex scope. Buy a new model $300 Vortex scope. Go buy 2 boxes of ammo. Shoot one. And you're ready to go. Really? I mean, you're right. I'm right.
Ring the fight bell. Yeah. And
the bolt's not going to necessarily be smooth.
I mean, and you know what's stupid about it is there's other people that are going to say, it's completely wrong and you're way out of line, and yet there are people every year up here that shoot the biggest animal in the state potentially And you know what they shoot it with for bullets? They don't know.
Nope.
It's whatever they could find in the back of their truck door
Or the bottom of the
bottom
boat.
of the boat. They don't care. They haven't double-checked their zero. They haven't shot the gun since they killed last year's
And it's not saying
moose.
you shouldn't double check your zero.
No.
It's not saying you shouldn't know what bullet you're shooting.
No.
Knowing those things, having those things figured out is awesome. But you can do, if you take those steps with a cheap rifle and a cheap scope, and the bolt's probably not going to be real smooth. Trigger probably ain't going to be amazing. Stock might rattle a little bit. You might have to buy a softer butt pad for it, but I had that Remington 770, which was a $500 gun or less.
Or that,
Okay, I still have it. That's my 30-06.
That was a honey.
I still got it, and I absolutely, if I go hunting with a 30-06 again, we'll hunt with that rifle. And could use a new stock. I kind of beat the crap out of it, but
Well, you were raking the brush, calling for moose with it.
I wasn't going to say that, but yes, I was.
I just threw that out there.
Yep. And you know what? It shot great.
Yeah.
And it has a Bushnell scope on it. No, I think I put that red field on it.
Yeah.
I had a Bushnell on it at one point that, shot fine.
The point of all this is to say, while it might not be ideal, if you want to further the capabilities of a platform, of a weapon system, if we will, you might as well do it with something that is going to allow you to shoot the best that you can.
Yeah.
Which normally does not involve getting the snot beat out of you by some big Magnum cartridge. That's just how it goes. The harder it kicks, the harder it is to shoot, the less you're going to want to shoot it, and the worse shot you're going to be with it. Just get something that's slightly more tolerable, which is why I ended up with the 25 at this point. And I think it has been the beginning of what I want to do more of. And that's not because I'm out there trying to prove anything. I'm just adjusting based off of what I used to do to what I'm trying to do now, which is be able to shoot more and enjoy it and have more fun doing it.
And I should clarify. Yes, I have the Remington 770. It's a 30-06. I don't ever see another reason to buy another 30-06.
I do, but
maybe
for 64.
Oh yeah, sure. But you know what I mean. Like to actually to hunt with or something.
Yeah.
It's all I need, and I may never hunt with again. I got that 300 short mag. It's a Tikka. It works great. It's got a $500 scope on it. It's awesome. I should clarify though that I don't mean you should go buy that. But if that's all you really can't afford, then it'll work.
How many times have we said that on this podcast?
It'll
that
work
wouldn't
fine.
stop me from going hunting.
It won't be as nice as, it probably won't quite shoot as straight as, but it might.
Yeah. Well, just limit your shot distances.
And here's
that's
one.
the issue. Limit your shot distances.
I had a cheap Savage.
Yeah.
Shot amazingly well.
Yeah.
And Savages are kind of known for that. Shoots crooked now.
Shoots around corners now.
Down. It shoots down.
Anyway. Well, I think we'll put a bow on it.
Short episode today, huh?
Yeah, I said that. Every time I say that.
You said that, and I was like,
we
you shouldn't say that.
End up getting on some rabbit trail. But anyway.
It makes for good talk.
Yeah, it's fun to talk about stuff like this. If not this, then what are podcasts for? Ramblings.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Hopefully with some dead sheep stories.
Gone sheep hunting.
Or horror stories or something.
Yeah. I'm so glad to be back in the studio. I'm warm now. I'm not soaking wet. I don't have to eat bars every day. Anyway, well, if you like the Great Alaska Hunting Podcast, please like and share. Subscribe to the channel. If you're on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating or a positive written review. We would greatly appreciate that. Share it with a friend. Text the link to somebody. If you're on Spotify, you can leave us a comment on there and a 5-star rating. YouTube, smash the like button. Subscribe. Leave a comment. I just like saying smash the like button.
I know you do, yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
I follow this particular gentleman on social media who just harasses his wife by just in random public places, like at church, for instance. he'll just, be eating a potluck lunch or something, and his wife's, chowing down, talking with her family. He'll just pull up his phone. What up, gang? It always really embarrasses her. So shout out to Grant in Ohio. You made it on the big time.
Right, yeah.
So smash the like button if you're on YouTube. Like and subscribe there. Leave a comment. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Good luck out sheep hunting. Eat the food you like. Tape your feet if you're getting hot. And until next time, tread lightly, but don't tread well.